Hi everyone! This is our week 5 overview. Let me tell you what's going on this week and also give you a few tips about the exam next week. So our final piece of content that we need to cover before the exam is climate change. So the reason that we have sort of the two course modules close to each other, air pollution and climate change, is because they're definitely related. So a lot of the things that we talk about happening in the atmosphere can relate to both topics. However, keep in mind that they are distinct from each other, right? So air pollution is not the same thing as the carbon emissions that we are considering when we're talking about climate change, right? So even though they're definitely related to each other, they are separate and they are different. So I want you to sort of remember that and keep that in mind, especially for the exam coming up next week. Those are two separate topics. This week, just as in previous weeks, we have a similar mix of assignments as we have had already. All the lecture materials are once again here in our lecture folder this week. For lab in this week, we are looking at the carbon cycle. So it's a climate change lab, but it actually focuses a little bit more on the carbon cycle itself. So actually this will be a good review for the upcoming exam to make sure you understand the carbon cycle as well. You'll get a chance to sort of play around with that a little bit more. We're going to be using an online simulator that is going to produce data based on some inputs that you put into it. I've created a whole separate video with instructions exactly how the carbon simulator works, and I actually walk you through different parts of the lab just so you can kind of understand what's going on. But again, the nice thing about this lab is it'll give you a good reminder and a good overview of how the carbon cycle works, which again is one of those biogeochemical cycles that I know a lot of people are still a little bit uncomfortable with, but this is a good way to review that. In addition to doing the climate change lab this week, you also have your second bud burst observation. So the very first week of class, I had you all go out, pick a tree, and observe that tree, right? So you were looking at what was going on. You took record of the location of the tree, what type of tree it was, and then you also told me something about one of its what we call, again, phenophases. So this idea is, was there anything going on? Were the leaves changing color? Were leaves falling off? Were there any flowers or fruits or anything like that that you could see? Time for observation number 2 now. You're going to go to the exact same tree as you did before. Don't pick a new tree. Go to the same tree. Go to that first tree that you went to before and make an observation again. And again, this time you're also checking for same things. Do we see any more color in the tree, or is there color developing in the tree now? Do we see any leaves falling off? Do we have, once again, any flowers or fruit that are visible? So you're going to make those observations again. And then just like we did before, you're going to record them in a Google Sheet. So I have given you the link to your Google Sheet. Please note for observations this time, you don't need to re-input the information. So don't put your name in again and all of this information here. The only thing I actually need you to do this time is I need you to just, sorry, it's taking a minute here to load. I need you to come over here. I've created some new columns on the right-hand side of the sheet here for your second observation. So you're going to find your name here on the left, wherever you recorded your observations before, and then you're going to follow it over to the new columns. So please do put today's date or the date of your observation, and then once again you're going to put in this information here. Is there any color, right? Or are you starting to see those changing of colors? Do you see some of those yellows or oranges or reds developing in the tree? How much would you say there is? Is there less than 25%? Is there half the tree, more than half the tree? So again, a lot of this depends on the type of tree you choose. So trees will change color at different times during the season. We have some trees like ash trees, for example, and some hickory trees that change color very early in the season, and they are probably already full of color right now. You have other trees that tend to hold on to their color a lot longer in the season, and so they probably won't have any dramatic colors until middle to late of the year. And then a lot of trees are somewhere in between. So go ahead and write that down for me. Again, pay attention to leaf drop. Typically, leaf drop comes after leaf color, right? So you don't typically notice leaf drop until you start to see at least 50 to 75% of the tree actually has developed that color. So again, you'll record those observations just like you did before. And then of course, we've got the lab quiz. So the other thing I wanted to point out is on this module, I also added the exam study materials once again. So this was in module 4, but I put it in module 5 for you as well. So this is the link to the study guides for both the all essay version and then also the multiple choice exam. And again, in the email weekly reminder that I sent everyone last week, I gave you a little bit more information about that, right? So there's also some more information up here about the exams and how the exam will work. I do plan on doing a short little video that I will probably post sometime this week in this folder. This is where I'll put it, where it's going to go through how to install Lockdown Browser. So again, you have to use Lockdown Browser to access these exams. It's a program that closes all the other browsers on your computer and only allows you to have one browser window open at a time. So you're not allowed to have multiple tabs open. I am not using the monitor portion of this. You don't need to have a webcam. I'm not recording you. It's kind of not necessary at our level, I think, as long as I have reasonable faith that you are in good faith, not using things you shouldn't be using in the exam. You should not be using your phones to look up answers. As long as I have a sense of trust in you that you're not trying to deliberately cheat or do something you know you shouldn't be doing, then we'll continue with the exam just like this. If there are problems, if there are issues, I may have to institute monitoring at a later date. But again, I'm going to trust everyone and I'm going to trust you all that you're going to sort of approach this exam the right way. You're going to study, you're going to prepare, and you're going to come ready to take the exam. So again, I'll post a quick video a little later this week that'll show you what the download process looks like. It's really simple. The link to the browser is actually right here on Blackboard. It's Respondus Lockdown Browser. And when you click on this link, it'll ask you, do you want to download? And then again, you just hit install now. So it's very simple, easy to do. And then I'll show you how to navigate to it. Okay. Speaking of the exam, just as a reminder, there are, again, 2 options, right? You only need to choose one. You don't have to tell me which one you're choosing. Both options will be available on the date of the exam. I also in here, actually coming back to our exam study materials real quick, I do have a study session sign up, and thank you for those of you last week who already signed up for what days you're going to be available and times. That's extremely helpful for me. And if you haven't done that yet, you still have a chance to have some input in what days of the week and what times of the day you'd like to see those study sessions. So I will have links for you in the folders. And again, it sort of depends on when these get scheduled. Tentatively right now, it looks like the study sessions will be scheduled the week of the exam. There's more interest in having them early that week versus the week before, which is totally fine. And if that's the case, if the study sessions are scheduled the week of the exam, you will see the week 6 folder that has the exams in it. That is where I will place the links to the study sessions as well, because again, we'll be in that week 6. So I want to make sure that all the materials are accessible in week 6. Okay, I think that does it for our week 5 overview. Again, I'll have some more information coming out this week, specifically about the exam, because I know that's sort of what everybody's on everybody's mind right now, right? Some of us are a little anxious about it. Again, we take 3 exams. They make up a good part of your grade, but they don't make up all of your grade, right? There are lots of other opportunities to succeed in this class outside of just doing well on the exams. So please don't spend too much time worrying about your performance on the exam. Do your best, prepare as best you can, and again, we'll go from there. There are always opportunities, as I mentioned in the email last week, some extra credit opportunities and some other things that you can do to boost your grade. Probably the most important is turning in your assignments each week and participating fully in the class, and you should be okay. That's it for now, and I'll update you guys all a little bit later on this week. Thanks, everyone.